What if the most dangerous person in your life isn't a stranger, but someone sitting at your dinner table or in the office next to yours? We talk a lot about toxic relationships in the context of romantic partners, but today I want to talk about something that is often harder, more complicated, and more painful. The toxic people we cannot simply walk away from. The parent who raised you, the one who was supposed to love you unconditionally and chose not to. The boss we depend on for our income. The coworker we sit next to 8 hours a day. The pastor or leader of the church we attend. Stay with me until the end of this video because I'm going to give you the tools to protect the most important thing you own, your health, your happiness. Welcome to Avoiding Drama. I'm Carmen, and this conversation is long overdue. Let me tell you something that took me a long time to understand. Toxic people, especially the ones closest to us, are not simply difficult. They are not just having bad days. The most dangerous ones are deliberate, calculated, and their goal, whether they are fully conscious of it or not, is not just to hurt you. It is to break you. Not your body, not your bank account, not your social life. Yourself. That quiet, sacred place inside you where your identity lives, where your confidence was born, where your sense of worth was supposed to be planted and nurtured, especially by the very people who were supposed to love you most. And here is what makes this kind of destruction so uniquely cruel. We can recover from depression. I know this personally. I have been in the kind of darkness where getting out of bed felt impossible, where weeks passed in a fog of pain so heavy it had physical weight. That is devastating, but it is something the mind and body can heal from with time, support, and care. But when someone systematically dismantles your core, when they attack not what you feel, but who you are, the damage is different, deeper, more insidious, because they don't do it all at once. They do it slowly. First, they make you question your perception. That never happened. You're too sensitive. You're imagining things. Then they attack your worth. You'll never amount to anything. Nobody else would put up with you. You should be grateful I'm here. Then they isolate you from anyone who might reflect your true value back to you, because witnesses are dangerous to their agenda. And then, in the cruelest move of all, they make you the instrument of your own destruction. You start to believe them. You start to repeat their words in your own head. You start to shrink, to apologize for existing, to feel guilty for having needs. That is not depression. That is identity erasure. And the physical consequences are very real. Chronic stress from this kind of sustained emotional warfare elevates cortisol levels, weakening your immune system, disrupting your sleep, affecting your heart, your digestion, your nervous system. Your body absorbs what your mind is enduring. I know because I lived it. And I want you to know, what they broke was never the truth about you. It was always a lie they needed you to believe in order to maintain their power over you. The truth is still there, buried perhaps, silenced maybe, but never destroyed. And reclaiming it piece by piece is some of the most important work a human being can ever do. Now here is where it gets really important. Because the advice, just cut them off, while sometimes necessary, is not always realistic. You cannot always fire your boss. You cannot always avoid a parent at family gatherings. You cannot always quit a job when you have bills to pay. You cannot always cut off a sibling when they are also your parent's caregiver. So what do you do when walking away is not an option? Strategy number 1, radical boundary setting. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It is a line you draw to define what you will and will not accept, and it is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself. With a toxic family member, you can limit the time you spend with them. You can choose not to engage in certain conversations. You can quietly leave a room when the behavior starts. You can decide not to share personal information that could be used against you later. And here is something important. You do not need to announce your boundaries dramatically. You simply live them quietly, consistently, firmly. With a toxic boss or coworker, keep interactions strictly professional. Document important conversations in writing. Avoid sharing personal details that could be used against you. And most importantly, never engage emotionally in their drama. Gray rock them, become as uninteresting and unreactive as possible. Toxic people feed on your reaction. When you stop reacting, you stop being useful to them. Strategy number 2, the gift of emotional detachment. This is one of the most powerful tools available to you and one of the hardest to master. But once you have it, it will change your life. Emotional detachment does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you stop allowing their behavior to control your emotional state. Think of it this way. You are standing on the shore, watching a storm over the ocean. The storm is real. It is powerful. But you are not in it. When they criticize you, you observe it without absorbing it. When they create drama, you witness it without joining it. When they try to provoke you, you respond with calm instead of reaction. You become the eye of the storm, still, centered, untouchable. This takes practice, but it is absolutely learnable, and it will protect your peace in situations where you have no other choice. Strategy number 3. Build your world outside of them. Toxic people thrive in isolation. They want to be your only source of validation, support, and connection because that gives them complete power over you. So, deliberately and consistently invest in healthy relationships outside of the toxic one. Friends who lift you up, communities where you feel genuinely seen and valued, a therapist or counselor if possible, creative outlets, hobbies, causes you believe in. Build a life so rich and so full that their toxicity occupies less and less space within it. You need people who remind you of who you really are, especially when the toxic person in your life is working hard to make you forget. Strategy number 4. Protect your inner world. Your thoughts, your dreams, your private feelings, these are yours, sacred. Not everyone deserves access to them. Be very selective about what you share with toxic people, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Your vulnerabilities deserve to be held by people who will honor them. And every single day, even in the middle of a difficult situation, find one moment that is entirely yours. A cup of tea in the morning silence, a walk outside, a prayer, a song. Something that reminds you that your inner world is beautiful and intact, regardless of what is happening around you. Now I want to address something equally important. Because as powerful as boundaries and emotional detachment are, there are situations where no strategy is enough. There are situations where the most courageous, the most loving, and the most necessary thing you can do for yourself is to walk away. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in peace and in the full knowledge that you deserve better. How do you know when you've reached that point? When the relationship consistently costs you more than it gives. Every relationship has difficult seasons, but when the balance has permanently and irreversibly tipped, when you are always giving and always losing, always adjusting and always hurting, that is not a relationship. That is a slow drain on everything you are. when your body is telling you. Your body is extraordinarily wise. It knows things before your mind is ready to accept them. When you cannot sleep, when you are constantly sick, when your stomach tightens every time their name appears on your phone, when the mere thought of seeing them fills you with dread, your body is not overreacting. It is protecting you. Listen to it. When you have lost yourself. This one is perhaps the most important sign of all. When you no longer recognize who you are. When you have shrunk so small, so quietly, so gradually, trying to manage this person, that you have forgotten what brings you joy, what you believe in, what you are capable of, what you deserve. When you have to remember who you were before them, that is a crisis, and it requires action. When your growth is being consistently sabotaged. Healthy relationships celebrate your growth. They cheer for your success. They want you to become the best version of yourself, but toxic people feel threatened by your growth. Because a stronger, more confident, more aware version of you is harder to control. So they minimize your achievements. They plant seeds of doubt. They pull you back every time you try to move forward. You were not put on this earth to shrink for anyone. A word about walking away from family. I want to speak directly to those of you for whom the toxic person is not a coworker or a friend, but a parent, a sibling, someone whose connection to you runs through blood and history and decades of shared life. Walking away from family is one of the most painful and most misunderstood decisions a person can make. Society has a way of making you feel guilty for it. People who have never walked in your shoes will have opinions, loud ones. I want you to hear this clearly. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your peace, not even family. Love does not require you to accept abuse. Loyalty does not require you to sacrifice your mental and physical health. And choosing yourself, truly choosing yourself, is not selfish. It is the bravest thing you will ever do. And sometimes, walking away from what is destroying you is the only way to finally walk toward everything you were always meant to be. Before I let you go today, I want to say something directly to you. If you watch this video all the way to the end, it's because something in your life resonated with what we talked about today. Maybe you recognize someone. Maybe you recognized a situation. Maybe, and I say this with the deepest respect, you recognized yourself in the person who has been slowly disappearing under the weight of someone else's toxicity. I see you. I want you to remember 3 things as you go about your day. First, you are not responsible for other people's darkness. You did not cause it, you cannot fix it, and you were never meant to carry it. Second, protecting your peace is not cruelty. It is not a weakness. It is not a failure. It is wisdom, hard-earned, deeply necessary wisdom. Third, you still have time. No matter how long this has been going on, no matter how much has been taken from you, the person you were before the damage and the even stronger person you are becoming because of it is still here, still fighting, still worthy of every good thing life has to offer. I have been where some of you are right now, and I can tell you from the other side, the moment you decide that your peace matters, that your health matters, that you matter, everything begins to change. Start today. Start small if you need to, but start. If this video spoke to your heart, please subscribe to Avoiding Drama for honest, real conversations about life, relationships, and everything in between. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, because you might never know whose life you changed by doing so. Leave me a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, what is the one boundary you are going to set this week to protect your peace? Until next time, and always remember, keep growing. Your future self awaits.